Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first 2026 duo mock draft on this channel. This is a pre-free agency mock draft because come Monday, all this is going to get thrown out the window pretty much, as teams will be signing big-time contracts and players just fall down on the needs list for teams. So are you ready to jump into this, and have you done a mock draft yet this year?
I have not.
I've done one. It's up on this channel, in which I said very much we're still very early in the process. I hadn't gotten to watch a lot of the players that I liked yet, and there's going to be some changes because there's some players I've really have fallen in love with since the last time I did it. So let's jump into this. I will have odds. My dad Tony will have evens because we want to pick for our own teams. AKA, it's the one chance I can actually like a Steelers pick. Now, starting out, I'm going to look at the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to spout off a bunch of nonsense. I'm just going to take Fernando Mendoza.
So I have a question for you. Just speaking devil's advocate. So let's look back to 2 years ago, the draft, where Caleb came out and Jaden Daniels came out, and there's might have been a couple other quarterbacks that came out. Where would you put Mendoza in that group?
Okay, I would probably have him behind Caleb and Drake. And I'm just looking what I wrote down at the time. And I would have him above Jane Daniels because Jane Daniels, I'm still very worried about his injury history. And as we saw it, that came up this year, that he does not have the biggest bulk and he can get injured. So I would have Mendoza third on that list because Drake May was awesome and so was Caleb coming out.
So ironically, I would not. I would have him fifth. So, and the only reason why I say that is because if you look at what the Raiders have so far as what they need to do, right? They have so many things that they need to add. And I'm just wondering if entertaining maybe trading out of that spot to acquire a bunch more draft capital for next year wouldn't be something that they would look to do, and just maybe stick with Geno for one more year.
So here's the issue I think we run into. Mendoza is at worst the second best quarterback next year. So you would be drafting a worse quarterback prospect. And even if Mendoza struggles a little bit his rookie year, I mean, we saw Bryce Young struggle his rookie year. He looked pretty good this year. Jared Goff was horrible his rookie year and has turned out to be one of the upper echelon starters in the NFL.
Yeah, but you're waiting till your second contract before Goff actually picked up.
Goff picked up right when McVay got there.
So semantics, but I will be on the record as saying that I do not think that Mendoza is worth the first overall draft pick.
So, do you remember the last time me and you had this debate of quarterback or position player? Because recently it's just been quarterback, 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 and the only time, like the other time, would have been like the pandemic draft where there clearly was no quarterback to be taken. Do you remember the last time like we went back and forth on this?
No.
It would have been Joe Burrow, Chase Young, and you had very valid points of this Bengals team is bad and they need to fix a lot, and it has had ramifications for Joe Burrow, 100%. But the point is that I like to think that I will go back to that and say is you can take a quarterback that you really like, just take him.
Oh, it wasn't Chase Young that I was saying that they should take.
I thought it was Chase Young. It was that
No,
draft class though.
no, it was the tackle.
Who was the tackle?
He's with the Lions.
Oh, Penny. No, that was the year after with Chase and Sewell.
Okay, I can't remember, but no, because I
To
wasn't.
be fair, I'm going pre-pandemic, and that feels like a lifetime ago.
I wasn't coming out. I wasn't a Jamar Chase like truther. So
No, I'm saying Chase Young, the edge Washington took.
okay, Chase Young. Okay,
Yeah. Yep. Now at the Saints.
yeah. So obviously, what the Saints? How about the Jets?
No, I'm saying Chase Young's down the Saints.
Yes. Okay. I thought. I'm sorry. I thought. Okay.
We're off to a fantastic start here, everyone.
Yes, we are. Does everybody realize that this is our absolute first
Mocked together.
mock this year, right? So we're trying to, we're trying to iron out the kinks. Okay, so the Jets, they have been trading away a lot of talent. They just put the tag, on the running back today. So I question why they would do that unless they feel that they're going to be able to trade him and get even more draft capital, which they really don't need. What they need to do is just hit on draft picks. And you didn't preface this to everybody when coming in, but this is not a predictive mock. This is what we would do in the situation, which is the reason why I brought up Mendoza and would you rather trade him or whatever else. We're not doing trades today. Am I correct in that? We didn't.
Correct. There will not be trades until later on because, especially right now, I feel trades are so hard to predict.
Okay. So in everything that the Jets have done in this offseason and what they need, and they need a lot of help on all accounts, right? So not just on the offense, on the defense, or whatever else.
The only position group I really love on the Jets are their offensive tackles. And I love that position group. I think it's one of the best tackle tandems in the league last year.
So, and I know there's a lot of there's a lot of question around his physical stats, but I'm going to take Ruben Bain Jr. for them. We had a conversation earlier tonight. I don't know if you've had a chance to kind of look at that.
I did, and I see the similarities you're talking about. The thing for me is when I watch Ruben Bain, I'm still uncertain of how dynamic he is at the NFL level. Because at the very least, I think he'll be a very good football player. He plays the run very hard. And here's the comp I've been making. When I look at these draft picks this year, there's not really like these standout edge rushers. You'll have a David Bailey team, a Timo Love. You'll have all these other guys. But I always go back to Jadeveon Clowney, if this makes sense, because Jadeveon Clowney, not as good as he was hyped up to be. He was hyped up to be this amazing pass rusher once in generation. He wasn't, but he was still a good pick because he could play the run. At the very least, if Ruben Bain doesn't give you that pass rush like splash, I think he can play the run at an elite level in the NFL.
And maintain that edge,
yes.
Right? And that's one thing, especially since a lot of teams have been going wide zone. You definitely need somebody that's going to maintain that edge. And I mean, if you look at the head coach with Aaron Glenn, he is a defensive-minded coach. I think that he could do wonders with Bain. So that is the draft pick, and the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock. Mind you, it just came out today that they said that they'll be parting ways with Kyler Murray this week.
Okay, so what quarterbacks are available? No, I'm just kidding. Looking at with what the Cardinals need, I think offensive line is the biggest weakness of them because Paris Johnson Jr. is the only guy that I would classify as good. Now, I have a guy graded top 5. Do you know what position he plays?
Wide receiver.
No, I'm talking offensive line.
Oh, guard.
Correct. And because this is what we would do, I am going to go off my own rankings, and I'm going to take, and I cannot pronounce his first name, Ione from Penn State. I have fallen in love with his film. He's got good hands. He's got good movement. And I know the whole argument is premium positions, premium positions, premium positions. The Cardinals need talent. And I have a top 5 list right here for me. My top 5 goes safety, linebacker, quarterback, guard. As much as I would love to take a safety or linebacker here, the Cardinals need to build out this offensive line for whoever's the quarterback. If it's not this year, next year they're going to try and eventually get their next guy. You need an offensive line for that guy, or else you're going to have massive consequences, similar to what we saw with Kyler Murray. A big reason why the Cardinals and Kyler Murray didn't work out long-term was because he sustained so many injuries. And some of that's due to Kyler Murray's play style and his body size and everything. But another part of it is they could not build a half-decent offensive line.
Okay, so devil's advocate here, just because tackle is more of a premium position than guard, right? Would you have entertained Mauigoa out of Miami for that position? Definitely. I mean, he's higher ranked in the position. Tackle is by far harder to actually come by. And like you had said, they really have one tackle,
Yes,
right?
and Maui Oga, when I actually did my original mock draft, he was who I had the Cardinals taking. But as I've gotten to watch more film and I've gotten to watch a lot more Ione, I just think Ione is like one of those upper tier guard picks. Like I look at him as someone NFL teams are going to love way more than fan bases and media personalities. He's going to go higher than what people expect. They're all going to say you overdrafted a guard. Well, question: who did the Seahawks take in the first round last year?
Oh, Gray Zabel, and they were ridiculed for that, and all the analysts said you don't take a guard at 16, and Seattle did, and he was pretty much phenomenal for Seattle this year, and so um, yeah, I know. I completely get that. I look at their offensive line, and guards are definitely easier to get in the later rounds. A lot of times, the tackles that are available in like the third and fourth round uh, are projected more into play guard, where if you don't have an adequate center, guards are kind of like, I mean, if you don't have that center, guards are a problem. I would rather attack tackle and center prior to guard.
And
Personal.
and that's fair. And the one last player, because I have had this ready, the Colts. I don't remember how long ago they drafted him, off the top of my head, but they drafted Quentin Nelson in the top 5 many years ago. Quentin Nelson's still one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. Sometimes you just don't overthink and you take the best player.
Oh, I'm not gonna argue with you there. So I was just so the Tennessee Titans are on the clock, and uh, so just to remind everybody, this is way early. So free agency starts next week. The Titans have a load of money. And as per one of the pods that we did recently, I personally think that they're going to have even more money because of some of the restructuring that they will do and some of the cleaning house that they're going to do, right? So, um, obviously, last year they got their quarterback, and I mean he actually showed flashes last year, right? So it's a matter of what do we get him? I personally think that they are going to address wide receiver, aggressively in free agency. They've got the money to do it. There are some free agents out there that I think that would fit in that, and so on the offensive side, other than if they were going to address like their interior offensive line. Um, they need a playmaker on defense, and they need somebody that you mentioned it last year when we were talking about it. They need somebody that that the fans are going to get behind, and to just to remind everybody, this is what we would do, and I am all about front seven defensive play, running the ball, some play action. Wide receivers are overrated. Um,
You say that to a wide receiver, there's only a 50% chance they fight you.
yeah. So, do you have a guess as to where I'm going to go? Knowing me,
So it's very hard to say because I would look at Carnell Tate. I would take an Ohio State guy here. I would look at the 4 Ohio State guys available. I'd take one of them. I personally think Sonny Styles is the best possible fit for a Robert Saleh defense. So I'd say
guess what?
I'm correct.
You are 100% correct. Sonny Styles. He is going to be this team's version of Fred.
Yep, and that's very fair. I have 3 linebackers graded on the top 10, and they're all phenomenal players.
Oh, absolutely.
I love the linebacker class this year.
I love the top. I love the first round if I was drafting, and the reason why is because, well, like I've already said, Mendoza would not have been the first overall pick, right? Um, I think this is a defensive heavy first round, in my opinion.
I think we're going to see a lot of offensive linemen get picked higher than what we expect.
Yeah, trenches are important.
Trenches are important, and I just see teams going wide receiver focus just because like it's such a big focus in the modern NFL that I think it will happen.
Well, the thing is, you gotta think about it. Right now, the what is it? If you're going to franchise tag a wide receiver, it's like $40 million, right? So that is a position right now that if you can draft somebody that you think has, a lot of skills in college, and let's face it, wide receivers are coming out, they're far more prepared to enter into the NFL than they were, say, 10, 15 years ago, right? You can help mitigate that $40 million tax or that $30 million tax that you're going to have to pay for your wide receivers. Keep your salary cap down because everybody seems to pay quarterbacks way too much freaking money. That can be another podcast. That's fine. But yeah, so I agree. Wide receivers are a commodity simply because their pricing is just outrageous right now.
Yeah. Moving on to the New York Giants, and this is where I have a very hard time. Because if you're going to ask me predict who I think they're going to take, I think they're going to take Caleb Downs. But if on the Giants, I don't think I do that. Even though he's my number 1 rated player, I just look at that roster. There's so many holes before I address safety. And Harbaugh, he's not like a young coach. He's going to want to win as fast as possible. I think there is a world where we see Jeremiah Love here. I don't think it's entirely out of the possibility. But for me drafting here, I need someone that I can just use to protect my quarterback and open up my run game. And I'm going to look at my number 1 rated offense lineman, Spencer Fano, and draft him at 5. My number 1 offense tackle, not offense lineman. Offense tackle, he's my number 1. I feel like he just has the best side-to-side movement, can help open it up, and he is a strong dude. He gets his hands on you, you're going down, and I look with what the Giants really excelled at last year. It was a lot of RPO focus. It was using Jackson Dart to run. It was using Cam Skattebo when he is healthy. I think the Giants are very much in play to draft a running back again in this draft class just because Skattebo's coming off a very ugly injury, and we just don't know how to predict how he'll be after that. And the Giants will want to run the ball a lot.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Cleveland is on the clock. And so Cleveland says, yes, please, all of the above.
They just traded for Titus Howard and paid him a massive contract.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice contract.
For the player, right? We're talking about for the player, not for the team.
Yes.
Okay. Just had to make sure because ooh.
So I'm going to throw in a little bit of what I would do with a little bit of.
So before you say anything, there are rumors that JOK will retire. Does that open up the possibility for a linebacker here?
Oh, really? No, well, yes, that would. But what I'm going to do is since we're making this pick based upon what I love some of the players on this team. I just don't like the team. And it's not because they're in your team's division. It's just because I don't like ownership. I think ownership gets too involved. They make way too many mistakes. So this is really, really mean. And I'm sorry for anybody if this offends everybody, but I am not a huge fan of the character of Mekhi Lemon.
So
I don't like how he comes across, and but he is a phenomenal talent. And so I'm going to say that the Cleveland Browns are going to take him just because he fits into those parameters of oops, we did it again, but the traits are there.
So I think Makai Lemon has a good chance to go in that division. He screams Steelers wide receiver to me. He just does. Makai Lemon is an excellent zone beater, but as you point out, character concerns. After the combine, the number one report was he bombed his interviews. Just bombed them. And we haven't talked to him. We don't know with what went on those interviews. It could be an overreaction, could be what. But did you see the interview he did with, I think it was Mike Florio?
Is that the one where he had the kind of psychotic eyes?
I don't know. I only listened to it. I didn't watch it. So I was just listening to him and how he responded and everything. And I was like, yeah, he's going to fall. I think he's someone you're gonna watch the film, you're gonna love, then you're gonna listen, you're gonna sit down in a room with him, you're gonna ask him a bunch about football, and it's gonna be like, man, can we draft him first round? Then like 3 years later, when it comes time to pay him and everything, it's gonna be like, damn, this dude was so talented. How did he fall? That's my prediction with Makai Lemon right now.
Well, he is the 6th overall draft pick.
Commanders, defense. Although, hang on, do we consider Mesidor here because I believe he is he's one of the oldest rookies in this draft class. That plays the Commanders' lights.
So I agree that they need defense, but they also need offensive line help. You already talked about how Daniels got hurt this year. And the reason why he gets hurt is because his offensive line is a crater, right? I mean, seriously, I've seen – less holes in, Niagara Falls. And so I completely agree that they need to address defense. But the problem is over the past 2 years, they've just brought in free agents and they're all old. And it worked for them 2 years ago. It did not work for them this past year. And so for me, it would either be linebacker or offensive tackle.
I am actually in the agreement there. Now, prediction, I'll just say my prediction right now for everything I've heard. They're in love with Jeremiah Love, and I think he's going to be the pick at 7. I've heard a lot of talk about that. I think there's a lot of smoke there. Now, looking at everything else, you're 100% correct offensive line. The problem is they have so much invested in their tackles, I can't take a tackle here. They trade assets for Tunsil. They drafted the guy from Oregon last year in Connor Lee Jr. And they have, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. The former Texas offensive lineman. I'm blanking on his name. Wow, that's bad. They have a major need offensive line. But I don't see the guys that I can draft there because they need interior line help, more in my opinion. So I'm going to look at defense. David Bailey is a very traitsy guy. I'm not certain on him. Then we can scroll down. Keldrick Folk. And I'm just going to talk about pass rushers here for a bit. Keldrick Folk. There are concerns that he's extremely raw, but the talent is clearly there. Akeem Mesidor. Talented, but he will be 25, I believe, by the time his rookie season starts. Cassius Howell. Probably my favorite film grade for an edge this year, but his arms, I believe, are smaller than Ruben Baines. So I am stuck in a bad position here where I'm just going to take a front 7 guy I think is tremendously talented in Arvell Reese.
Hard to knock that.
By the sounds of it, they're going to let Bobby walk. They need a linebacker. Reese, in my opinion, is one of the best linebacking prospects I have ever seen. He is not an edge. He is a linebacker. He's got good movement ability. He can really do a lot of things the Commanders desperately just need. He's got speed, which the team desperately lacks.
Are you trying to say they're old and slow?
Yes.
Fair enough. The Saints.
Is this one of the hardest teams to draft for?
Well, yeah, and here's the reason why. Because they've got no money. Honestly, they should trade down to like everything. They should just like trade with teams and get all the seventh round draft picks because they could afford them, right? Um, that being said, Kamara is. I can't believe I'm going to finally fall into this because you've been saying it for like 6 years. Oh, he's so old. He's so old. Spoken like a 24-year-old, by the way.
Hey! I am slightly older than Akeem Mesidor.
Okay.
Slightly.
So, Kamara is definitely, I mean, honestly, they need to figure out any way they possibly can to trim the fat, to get underneath the cap, to make room for this. And so if we go back and we look at like, just look at Kellen's background, right? Where was he super successful at?
Dallas.
Okay, and then where?
Well, was not successful in the Chargers. Eagles.
Okay, what did the Eagles have?
A great offensive line.
Yes. What else did they have?
An idiot head coach.
Yes, that's true.
I will always take a shot at Nick Sirianni.
they had Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Okay. And he opens up so much. If you look at how well QB play was last year for the Eagles versus the year before, right? Kellen more kind of like unlocked the position because of how he called the offense. And I think a lot of that had to do with Saquon Barkley. So Jeremiah Love. I really wanted Jeremiah Love to fall to 32, just so we're clear.
So here's the thing. I'm not as high on Love as everyone else. I think he's a very fine, good player. He reminds me actually a lot of Todd Gurley when I watch him. He just does. I don't know why. Maybe it's their running style. Maybe it's because actually Jeremiah Love would have grown up watching Todd Gurley, if that makes everyone else feel old.
Well, you just affirmed the reason why I would pick him because Todd Gurley, minus his injury history, was a freaking stud.
Yeah. My concern with the Saints drafting a running back, even though it makes logical sense, they just have so many holes on the team. That's just my big concern with them. Is that you're taking a running back now when I think you're 100% correct. They should trade down. Will they trade down? No, Mickey Loomis doesn't. There's such a hard team to pick for that. It's understandable. Now
they would be a fun team. They would be a fun team just to sit down and go through their roster, figure out how you can like get their cap done, who you think that they need to cut and what they need to do, and then address the draft. I think it'd be kind of fun. I think it'd be very hard. They're one of the harder teams to do simply because of how their contracts are structured. It's a lot like the Eagles so far as how they structure their contracts. It's hard to clear up money when they need to. But I just think that the quarterback played okay last year. They've got a couple pieces on the outside. Give them a running back that is young and explosive and kind of work from there. And then the rest of your draft, you can attack the defense.
Yeah. I think maybe the issue why I just don't care for the running back pick for the Saints is
you don't like running backs.
That, but also I don't think Shuck was all that like great. I think he was just a product of, oh my God, that was so bad last year that it was mediocre. And the Saints were like, that's improvement. That's how I viewed that.
I think you have to look at the cast surrounding him, see what he did. He made plays, and then put it into the realm of speculation, which is a lot of what the NFL is, right? Oh my God, look at his traits. I can coach him. He's going to be the best, right? And so he did this with basically, chicken crap, And so if we get him some of this, he's going to make chicken salad, right? And so, I mean, that's all that the NFL is in the draft and in free agency is it's envisioning what you can make of people, right? So, on to the Chiefs. I'm really interested in this pick
David
because
Bailey.
what?
David Bailey.
Okay.
They need Chris Jones. I will die on the hill that he was not all that great last year, and he's their number one pass rusher. They have George Karlaftis, who they paid a metric ton of money to, but he is not like that pass rusher. Even though I am a little lower on David Bailey than everyone else, because I actually don't have a first round grade on him. I only have 12, so it's not saying a lot, right? We're at the point that you can see it. But I watched him play, and the one thing you cannot deny is he has speed. This Chiefs defense is slow. They need speed. Even if it's at the edge rusher position, not like at a linebacker position where you can run around, they just need that team speed on defense.
Fair enough. And I like it. So the player that I'm going to pick for the Bengals, I would have picked for the Chiefs. I think this is right around his sweet spot. I like what I've seen with him, and that's Thieneman, Dylan Thieneman.
Over Caleb Downs.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I just, yeah, I just like him. I do. I really like him. I've seen, you know, and and I liked him before the combine. So let's just clear that out. I really did. I liked him before the combine.
Oregon Homer.
Oh God, I knew you were going to throw that on me. And that hurts. But personally, I think that he should be blackballed for most teams in the first round. And if he slides down to 32, darn, right? So,
yeah. I do not like him more than Downs.
No, that's
just a pick. So here's the thing. It maybe isn't out of the realm of possibilities considering how well he tested and the fact there has been a injury concern with Caleb Downs with a degenerating ACL, it was reported today, that team spotted. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, in my opinion. Thieneman goes there. It's just, to me, Downs is my number one player, so it's like, wow, that's shocking.
So what I'm going to say about Downs is that I've seen him get lost more so than other players. When he is a playmaker extraordinaire, but he gets lost too. And that's the part that you know me. I don't like the big splashy, right? I like the lunch pail guy that's going to show up and he's going to do his job, and so I just think that from top to bottom, Thieneman over the long haul is going to be the player that everybody currently thinks Caleb Downs is.
Okay, here's the question. Do you trust the Bengals to develop him?
That's not what this is about.
Are
you talking to Thieneman?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't trust that Bengals team with anything.
As fast as he is, if safety doesn't work, they can always stick him in and put him on both sides of the ball and let him just run deep posts. He can catch.
Yeah. I'm just going to continue this conversation as the Dolphins are going to take Caleb Downs. They need the best player on the board, in my opinion. That's Downs. They have such a lack of talent on this roster that anything is really needed. When I watch Caleb Downs, I see a lot of Eric Weddle. I've heard that comp, and it really clicked when I went back and watched him. Eric Weddle was a damn good safety for a long time in the NFL. I believe that's what Caleb Downs is going to be. I believe he's going to be the safety 10 years from now. We're still looking at him as a top 5, maybe even top 3 safety in the league.
So I'm going to tell you, Dallas was really hoping that Caleb Downs was going to fall to them.
Well, sorry, Jerry.
Yeah. But I mean, so Dallas needs help all across the defense, right? They can use help at cornerback. They can use help at safety. Uh, edge is huge for them. So I look at the games that we watched and that we talked about with them last year. I mean, look at the Giants versus the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I mean, it
Dallas's defense, it was just remarkably bad.
yeah, all around, right? And so I here's where my not addressing as much of the draft yet as a lot of people. Um, my favorite DB is Avion Terrell.
He's my number one corner.
Yeah, so I am going to take Delaney here.
Okay. Now, is this because Delaney projects more as a boundary corner and Terrell projects more of a nickel corner?
Yes.
Okay. That sums it up pretty much. Dallas just needs defensive help.
Yeah, they do. If you had not taken Caleb Downs, I would have taken him there because the safety would, um, especially with his reaction time and his recovery, safety of his caliber would be really, really good. But Delaney can block off that one side of the field for, he has a lot to learn still, but his physical gifts are freaking crazy.
Okay. I'm torn here because I have a player rated higher in CJ Allen. The Rams do not care about the linebacker position. This
Nope.
has been established. That being said, I'm making the pick. CJ Allen on that Rams defense. Oh boy, that would be fun. But I want to make Sean McVay happy because I like Sean McVay. He's a nice guy. Why not get him a fun, dynamic weapon? Why not get him another amazing route runner? Why not get him pretty much a Cooper Kupp guy? Give me Carnell Tate.
Yeah, so I kind of thought you might go there. So I was wondering, I was wondering if you were going to go offensive line there, just because of how they've been working on their offensive line, and they built it up. Because I mean, they used to basically be like, we don't care, and then like 3 years ago they changed that, and they're all about both trenches, the offensive and the defensive line. And so with the retirement, I was kind of curious if you were going to go offensive line. I think Carnell Tate is a horrible thing
For the NFC West?
for the NFC West. Yes.
It's quite simple. Carnell Tate, I would not expect him to be on the board there. And if I'm the Rams, I'm looking at the receiver position as Devontae Adams is getting up there in age. Puka is, I believe he's already been, has he been extended yet? Either way or not?
Nope.
Okay, he's not been extended. There had been some questionable things with Puka over the past season, to say the least. You look at Carnell Tate, he kind of just is a Sean McVay receiver. He just does everything well. He's not great at one particular thing, but he'll run block. He is maybe the one thing he's great at is a route runner, but he doesn't have the burning speed, but he can route people up. He can come back. And I just look at the Rams receiving core with an aging Devontae Adams and everything. Plus,
I think it's an amazing, they will run that up to the podium as quickly as they can.
And absolutely. I will get a threatening text saying, "Why did you predict this?"
No, I just look at that, and the offensive line, is something that they're going to need to address. Unfortunately for them, they do have another pick in the first round. So
I don't believe the Rams will have this pick come draft time. I don't. I just, by the sounds of it, maybe it's 29 they don't have, but everything sounds like they're trying to use one of their first to get a corner, which they desperately need. I don't think anyone would disagree on that. And the one name I've heard attached to them is Trent McDuffie.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. That'll be interesting. The Ravens are unused to picking in this spot, right?
I like it when they pick in this spot. I hope they continue to pick here for many years to come.
I understand. I really like the Jesse Minter hiring, right? And so, like, me loving the side of the ball that I love, I'm like, oh my God, yes. They need DBs. Caleb Banks, interior pressure. Oh my God, yeah.
Don't do that to me.
CJ Allen.
Don't do that to me either.
An explosive playmaker. And even like, I think the most Ravensy pick that they would make, so if they were like in the 26 range, like what they usually are, would be Keldrick Falk, right? Be super, super traitsy, and then they would work on developing him. But their offense has been struggling. Their offensive line is
bad.
Is not good. It's not the Ravens' offensive line of old. Lamar is getting older, and I mean he's developing more and more injuries because of his play style.
And it seems like they're going to let Tyler Linderbaum walk at this point.
So we're going to take Francis Mayoga. And the thing is he you can put him at tackle, you can put him at guard, put him wherever best you think it's going to work, but just give him something. And then watch Derrick Henry run behind him.
So I have a question. I don't know if he's kept this nickname or not, but I know when he was coming out of high school, he had a nickname. Do you know what it is?
Oh, gosh, no.
The Pancake King.
I heard that somewhere. Okay, I did hear that somewhere.
Okay. I just think it's a cool nickname.
Yeah.
Here I'm at the Bucks. This might be the easiest pick. CJ Allen.
Oh.
The only
problem with that is that does signify the end of an era. I mean, it's a great pick. Please don't get me wrong.
Levante's 36. Like, he is clearly a shell of his former self. And
so is Bobby.
Yeah. And I look at CJ Allen as he is one of my top 10 guys on my board. I love him to death. To me, he just reminds me of Roquan Smith. I just see Roquan Smith when I watch him, and then find out, he models his game after Roquan Smith. I found that out, and I was like, that makes sense. Plays like him, has the intangibles like Roquan. I truly think CJ Allen's going to be like one of the better picks from this draft class, and will be an instant day one impact starter, which the Bucks need at the linebacker position because he can tackle. He is the best linebacker in coverage I have seen. When watching linebacker films, his ability in coverage to drop back, play zone, read quarterback's eyes, get a hand on the ball, it's amazing.
The Jets are back on the clock. Wow, I have both picks for them. I just realized that. I was like, what?
Aw, you get to be GM for the Jets. How does it feel?
Oh, God.
How does it feel reporting to Woody Johnson?
Yeah, no, that's not happening. I do my own thing. I'm a cowboy, baby. So, of course, just to remind everybody, I did take Ruben Bain.
I wish I had a liquor right now after hearing that.
Yeah, probably. I'm not saying you're wrong. We already started working on the defense, and so we're going to keep working on the defense. I've been looking at a lot of mock drafts, and I know he's been falling down a little further. I really like how Caleb Banks plays. There's been a lot of concern. You even addressed it today when we were chatting about his leverage, his center of gravity, his leverage, right? But I just think that he's so versatile that they will be able to put him in a lot of places and continue to strengthen that defensive line. which is one of the things that Aaron Glenn is about. And I mean, if you go back and you look at how the Jets played last year, I think that's definitely needed.
Yep, that makes all the sense in the world. I love Caleb Banks. I've watched a lot of him. I would say he can get you some pass rush from the interior, but he's a very good run defender, and he is a big guy that can clog up holes. He's a very big guy, actually. Moving on to the Lions. And the Lions, this is very interesting because they're going to rebuild their offense line. They've let Graham Glasnow know. They seem very like, okay, we got to rebuild this. It was not good enough last year. And probably the biggest story that a lot of people didn't realize last year was how bad their offensive line was. I'm at a problem. I don't have an offensive lineman I like here. The highest guy I would have on the board is Lomu from Utah, and then Pregon from Oregon. I don't care for... I haven't really gotten a great feeling for Monroe Freeling, and Caden Proctor I'm much lower on than everyone else. So I don't feel comfortable taking an offensive line here, and I would just...
So let's go back to real quick to Caden Proctor. Are you just not a fan of Alabama offensive linemen?
I think it's because I saw this dude get bodied every time he went against an NFL caliber player. I just do not think highly of him. And especially, he will avoid blocking a guy on a screenplay and just run downfield with no one in front of him. It's mind-boggling. I'm not a fan of Caden Proctor. I don't think he translates well to the NFL. That's really what it is. And
fair.
The last Alabama offense lineman I was really low on was J.C. Latham, who has not translated well to the NFL. I'm at a rough spot with the Lions here because, like I said, I want to address offensive line, but I'm kind of stuck not doing it because I don't like any of the guys really in this spot. The closest guy would probably Pregon because I think he fits the Lions' culture, the play style. But even then, no. So I'm going to look at the edge rushers here. I have a good film grade on Howell, as I mentioned earlier. The arm length scares me way too much. I just can't. Keldrick Folk is an athletic freak. But I think he's raw. I think he needs more time to develop. The Lions are a win-now team. So I'm going to take Akeem Mesidor here for the win now. He's an older prospect, yes, which means he's closer to his ceiling. But the Lions already have a stud pass rusher in Aiden Hutchinson. Get another guy to play on the opposite side of him. He can do that. Mesidor was a Robin to a Batman in college and played very well. He can get after a quarterback. He can play the run very good. He's physical at the point of attack. I like him here for the Lions.
I like it. I do. Vikings are on the clock.
Quarterback?
There's not one I would take here.
Ironically, I think Ty Simpson fits Kevin O'Connell's offense really well.
So full disclosure, my wife, her sports teams are Minnesota, so the Vikings, the Twins. So if I screw this up, I am sleeping on the couch in a snowbank for the foreseeable future. And we don't have snow here in Montana right now. So
they probably got some in Minnesota still.
They probably do. So I'm just going to go with my top-rated player on the board. I don't what their team needs.
So can I say who I would take here?
Absolutely.
Avian Terrell. Brian Flores would be head over heels in love with him.
So I 100% agree with you there. The difference is I'm going to take McCoy because I think McCoy fits that system better. And so I would take McCoy. We were thinking along the same lines. I just think that just because of that system, I really think that McCoy is going to be better for it. And so that's why I picked him. I think Terrell in the right system is a better player.
Yeah, I think Terrell's okay. I don't know how many people will go back and pay attention when I said about Trent McDuffie. I don't know how many people are still on this channel, but you will know how much I love Trent McDuffie. That's how I view Avian Terrell. That's how highly I view him.
No, I get it. And so the other area that I really, really, really thought about going for them, and it's way too high for him. Is McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo?
I think we see him go in this range.
Oh well, I wasn't sure about that, but I like him, and I mean, can you imagine just letting him unload on people in that defense?
Oh yeah, I would love to see Minnesota draft a safety here. This is where I think Dylan Thielman's best spot is with the Vikings, with Brian Flores' defense.
Hmm.
Uh, Going to the Carolina Panthers. So this is something I've seen happen a couple times, and when I first saw it, I chuckled because to me it was like, oh, you're drafting the same position first round back to back years from the same state, just rival schools. And then I thought about it more, and I was like, you know, I kind of love Jordan Tyson and the Dave Canales offense, 2 wide receivers. It's like Godwin, it's like Evans. I like that a lot. So yeah, we're taking Jordan Tyson here. And I'm
Fair.
just strictly thinking about how Will Canales did with Evans and Godwin and how he was able to get the ball to them. And that was such a dynamic duo. If you have a chance to recreate that with young talent, I think you kind of have to.
No, totally. I totally get that, and I mean, that's definitely valid.
I will say
Now,
my concern for him though is injuries. He had a lot of injuries at Arizona State, so that is something to keep an eye on.
all right. So this is kind of funny because I had Dallas's pick at 12 with Delaney, the DB, and so
Well, you do know you're going to get another duo pick, right? Cleveland.
Cleveland's. Yeah, I guess you're. Wow, I am just. Boy, these guys are gonna love me.
You get to be the Browns GM again.
I am accepting offers as a general manager. Just realized that I will build teams like they were built in the 80s.
To be fair, Jimmy Haslam probably would be sold on that idea. So would Jerry.
Jerry can't remember the 80s right now. So we took Delaney for Dallas before. I'm gonna stick on the defensive side, and this is a totally Dallas pick. Falk, right? Super traitsy, raw, but when you're talking about defensive line play and defensive line coaches, I really think that Dallas is a place that can help him. And so we're going to just take Falk and roll with it. 10 sacks for a rookie.
So here's the thing. I'm not sold on Falk's first 2 years in the league. That's a guy I'm going to want to see just develop his first 2 years, and then I think he'll pop entering his third and fourth year.
Oh, he's situational the first year. He is pass rush only.
Yeah. You cannot have him at early downs.
No, he's going to be pass rush only, but he's going to have 8 to 10 sacks as a rookie.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Here I am with my team. I don't get to enjoy the draft as a Steelers fan. It's why I love the draft so much, because I look at it from just players and prospects potential. Because my team always angers me. They just do. They find a way to do it every single year. So
Ty Simpson.
So that's my prediction of who they're going to draft.
Oh, seriously?
Okay, real quick. They have put themselves in a position with how they touted Mike McCarthy. Everything they kept on saying was quarterback guru, quarterback developer, quarterback. Then it came out after the combine, Mike McCarthy loved Ty Simpson. Loved him. And it was like he aced everything, high education. It sounds like that's going to be the direction. I know a lot of people want a wide receiver here. The one wide receiver I would take here is probably Casey Concepcion, but there are some concerns there. He has a little bit of case of the dropsies at times, and I'm just...
So does DK.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It does sound like Aaron Rodgers is coming back this upcoming year. Aaron Rodgers will not throw to young wide receivers. He just doesn't. And it's something everyone will point at, be like, oh, get him a first round rookie wide receiver. The reason the Packers never did is because they knew he would never use them. So I'm going to just take my best player on the board here. The nickelback I've been dreaming about for years. Give me Avion Terrell. I've spoken highly about him throughout this entire mock draft when he's popped up. I think he is truly a guy that can become the game changer in your secondary. He's fast, he's young, he's extremely talented. And in my opinion, he plays the number one most important position in the secondary, and that's nickelback.
So going back to the quarterbacks and everything else, right? I know that the top three considered are, of course, Mendoza, Simpson, and Beck.
No.
Do you?
Beck is probably fifth on the majority list.
Oh, okay. Well, see, told you I've been out of it.
If I had to guess, it's Mendoza, Simpson, Nussmeier, Aller, Beck. That's how I think it's ranked.
Okay, so I was going to ask about Nussmeier just because I thought
I am low on him. I'm extremely low on him as a prospect.
There you go.
Because he is someone who was phenomenal at LSU when he had 5 offense linemen in front of him. You give him a little hint of pressure, he crumbles, he throws bad balls, he throws them into high-risk areas, he really panics. You know what this is going to sound like this? Imagine a less arm talent playing Gabbert. That's what he is.
Oh, that's so. The Chargers pick is tough, and the reason why it's tough is because where they struggled this year, they're going to be healthy at the start of the season. But we also know that the Chargers are the most injury-plagued team on the face of the planet, it seems like.
All I know is the football gods do not like Spanos, which they shouldn't.
So I'm going to take Freeling here.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that is because you can play him at guard. They need help at guard, right? If there's an injury, he can kick out to tackle. But I really like him at guard, and 22 I don't think is too far a reach for a guy that you can play guard, right? And so that's what I'm taking. And they need to protect. I mean, good God, look at what they did last year with everything that they had to go through, and they were still in the playoffs.
Yeah. I have been a very vocal critic of Georgia's offensive linemen coming to the NFL because I don't think they're great at developing them. I think they work great in college. I don't think they work all that well in the NFL, but that's because a lot of them are put at the tackle position when they should move into guard. As you say, he can move into guard, which he should.
Yeah. So you are on the clock with Philadelphia, and I'm sorry that I took the highest rated Georgia player.
Well,
you can take Christian Miller.
Oof. Talk about one of the weakest Georgia defensive lines last year that I've seen in a while, and that would be a Howie thing. But I am going to look at this differently. Dallas Goedert's gone. That's what it sounds like. But also,
you're taking Sadiq.
No. I am not a Sadiq guy. I'm an Eli Stowers guy. I think he's the best tight end in this draft class. He's got great explosiveness. He is a more willing blocker in the run game and a better blocker in the run game. I think Sadiq at right now is only a slot wide receiver. Like a big slot. That's how I view him. I like Eli Stowers a lot. He played in the SEC. He got really down physical. For a Vanderbilt team that overachieved during his time there, he had the impressive vertical jump, which shows his explosive ability, can be used a lot in the pass game, and I think he is a better blocker than Sadiq by a good bit.
Well, Sadiq isn't really a blocker, but that's okay.
Which is why I don't like him in Philadelphia, because they asked their tight end to block.
Fair enough. Are you concerned with on the offensive line as well? I mean, they've got some problems on the offensive line now.
I would be. I'm very concerned because they got rid of their amazing offensive line coach. My concern for that offensive line is tremendous. Pragon's the guy I'd consider here, but here's the thing. I don't know what the Eagles are running offensively right now. Because it sounds like they really want to go under center a lot. That's in hey, that works. Here's the thing. Jalen Hurts under center is not the best quarterback at all. He's a much better shotgun player. Now you can argue, hey, it's better for the run game and all that, but I look at this Eagles team and I think they're gonna have a kind of identity crisis on offense this year, and I just don't want to take an offensive lineman and put him in that identity crisis mode where maybe we have a whole new coaching staff coming in next year and the offensive lineman just doesn't fit at all for the new scheme.
Fair enough. As you had said, I got my third double up, and I got the Cleveland Browns, and they need a lot of help, right?
The only position they don't really need help at is edge.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for them, it's a great edge class.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to take Caleb Lemieux, tackle out of Utah. They just need to fix their offensive line woes. And, they made a trade. They're addressing it. They're getting younger at the offensive line, which is much needed. Not sure how long this coaching staff is going to be there, but that's an entirely different topic.
It feels like they're sacrificial lambs.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So
here I am with the Bears, and I got the biggest curveballs of curveballs today with Drew Dahlman retiring.
Yeah, that was a little crazy.
That shocking. I hope everything's well for him and his family, if anything's going on there. I don't feel comfortable drafting a center this early, even though I will say this. They are going to draft, I'm trying to go to the guy, Logan Jones. Remember his name. He will be a Chicago Bear come April. The Bears, I just feel like going defense is the best route. I really struggle finding a lot of guys, but probably my other highest rated defensive tackle, because he's just behind Caleb Banks, would be Lee Hunter. I'm just going to draft him. The Bears need to stout up that defensive line, build that up, and yeah, Lee Hunter fits that.
Who did you pick? I'm sorry?
Lee Hunter, Texas Tech, defensive lineman.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. We've been going for an hour and 15, so we'll speed this up a little bit.
Wow, who would have thought us talking about the draft would be long?
I know, right? So Buffalo on the clock. Buffalo needs defensive help, right? They also need a wide receiver. And I really hope that they address wide receiver in free agency. It doesn't seem to work well when they draft. I'm going to take Cassius Howell.
So
here.
How concerned are you with his arm length?
Kind of like with Bain. I think you have to make sure that what you're asking them to do isn't beyond their scope, right? And he's quick, he's twitchy. And so because of that, I think that, especially if you're matching him up and you're letting him travel some, I think he'll have more of an impact.
Okay. That makes all the sense in the world. To speed things up, I will make this very quick. Casey Concepcion to the 49ers. They're most likely losing Juwan Jennings. Ricky Pearsall, I love him. He's had his injury issues just this past year, and Ayuk's about to get cut. They need more receivers. They need cheap young receivers, and Casey Concepcion, I think, does a lot with what Kyle Shanahan would really like. He's a good route runner. He's got good speed. He can get in and out of breaks relatively very easily. Plus, he's a dynamic return man.
So the Texans, and I mean, offensive line.
Well, and Real quick
offensive
though,
line.
they did just trade for David Montgomery and brought him in, so that's
Yes, they did. They did, and he'll probably be their marquee back, right? The other, I really think that they need to like toughen up interior. I mean, their edges are like 1,000 miles an hour all the time, right?
the best way to beat the Texas defense last year was to run it inside.
Yeah. So we're gonna pick Caden McDonald.
Okay, a very stout run defender.
Kind of why I did it.
Less than 12 hours after we recorded this, the Rams decided to trade their first round pick for Trent McDuffie. I agree with the move, but that being said, I have to come in here and make a new pick for the Chiefs. And with that pick, I'm going to take Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Why? He's a freakishly athletic safety, and Spags loves those guys. He can go all over the field. He can come up, play some nickel. I actually think he could maybe play nickel and replace Trent McDuffie. Not to the fullest extent Trent McDuffie, but to a high-end extent. Overall, I think it'd be a very good move for the Chiefs. And real quick, though, talking about the Rams, what an addition getting Trent McDuffie. I love him as a player. I think he's one of the best players in the NFL. I would put him probably in my top 20 players in the league. That's how highly I think of him. The Chiefs, you're going to draft a young guy that maybe isn't as good as Trent McDuffie, but he's significantly cheaper, which is going to allow you to pay more to other spots on your team that you need to address.
All my friends that are Broncos fans, even though you're misguided, I'm doing this for you. Taking Kenyon Sadiq. Let's just
Jimmy Graham.
You beat me to it. That's where I was going with it, right?
Jimmy Graham.
So there you go.
As low as I am on Kenyon Sadiq, because I am lower on him than everyone else, traitsy guy, cannot block, can be that type of red zone threat. Yeah, Sean Payton knows how to deal with them.
Yep.
It's a fit. Patriots. I would love to take offense tackle here because Morgan Moses retired. So that screws me.
I had not heard that.
I saw it today. He's retired. Not good. Not good. I really like Pregon. He's my highest rate offensive lineman. They have kind of figured I wouldn't say their interior offensive line is great, but it wasn't their biggest weakness. So instead, I'm just going to go with an edge rusher I love in Mason Thomas from Oklahoma.
Ooh, I kind of like that. I really do.
So a big reason why I am so low on Caden Proctor was I watched that Alabama-Oklahoma game. And all the notes I had Caden Proctor turned into notes on Mason Thomas and the other OU defensive player. I'm trying to find his name. Grayson Halton. It turned into their show, and I was just like, oh yeah, Caden Proctor, not great. Those two, on the other hand, oh boy.
So the Seahawks, the world champion Seahawks. At this point in time, you're looking at the 32 pick. I really think, I honestly think that they'll try to trade out of it to get a couple more draft picks, simply because they only have a first, a second, a third, and a sixth, right? And so I really think that they'll probably trade down into the second round and try to pick up like a fourth and maybe a fifth to make everything work out. But for this, I'm like bouncing on my toes, because the three things that I would say that Seattle needed to address at this juncture are edge, DB, and running back.
I would say guard is there with Bradford.
No, they have a lot of young talent at guard, and so I'm not as worried about it as what you might think. But sorry.
Threw you a curveball. It's okay.
No. I don't think guard is as big as an issue as it was last year. They've got Bryce Cabledew. They still have Christian Haynes that was really showing signs during the preseason until he got hurt. and then he just lost all traction. So I think that they're going to be good. Is that going to mean that they're not going to take somebody later on like they always do? I look at like if they trade down or everything else. I look at somebody like trying to grab Trost to fill that. So like I said, I'm back to edge, DB, and running back. And the last time that they were in 31, 32 for running back, didn't work out well for them.
Well, the last time you guys picked 32nd overall, you took Jermaine Ifedi.
Yeah, one of the best players in the draft that I think is Colton Hood. And because of how he plays, I think he will play. He's kind of like a above average, not quite Witherspoon type player, if that makes any sense. And so I think in Seattle's defense, he is going to be like just crazy good. And I was battling between him and Brandon Cisse, but I'm going to take Hood.
So I just want to ask, how do you feel about drafting a guy to your team that was born in 2005?
Well, it just once again proves how old I am.
Yeah, Hood's a very interesting player, as he actually never stayed at the same team for more than a year. So I wonder how that's going to affect his draft grade. He was very good last year at Tennessee. He had to step up without McCoy there due to his injury. I think he's a very talented guy. The question I have for him, though, is he has not really stayed in the same consistent steam. How will he do that at the NFL level?
Well, I mean, let's face it. That happens with a lot of players anymore, and it's valuable. It's a valuable point that you put that up, because Seattle doesn't like a lot of players. They don't pick a lot of players that actually bounce around from school to school, right? I just think that this is a new generation. Mike Macdonald has been doing things kind of his way. And I think Hood fits so much into his chasing edges mentality that I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's going to wrap us up. I hope you enjoy this. If you have any disagreements, go down in the comment section. And you got to remember, this is the first mock draft we've done together. We really haven't discussed much of the draft together so far. So this is our first real taste of what each other think about it. We've had like very little discussions. I think I've texted you about CJ Allen 50 times, so you know I love him. But that's going to wrap us up. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching. And subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. Share this if I'd appreciate that. And have a great day, everyone.